Hello and welcome to the channel. Please let me know if you can hear me by giving this video a thumbs up. And welcome to our Indaba Capital monthly live. We had one last month. I've put up a private link. Please check it out or request one if you want to see what we chatted about. And that will in future be for our members in this channel. But first of all, can we just talk about what has happened in this month of February as a country, so that as we move on to the next month, which is March 2025, we are well aware what we have been through. All right, as you know, it has been um, an eventful month. In fact, I am being modest by saying this because what we have been through as a country, as a people, is a lot, right? Now, let me know what your thoughts are about the month that was. Obviously, we'll take the good things first. One of those highlights is the month of love. That's when we go out on Valentine's Day. Some even do it throughout the year and they celebrate their loved ones in their lives. We know that it's always focused on, love, bazi, umjolo, but love comes in various forms. It can be romantic, it can also be your family, or even the bonds that you enjoy with your colleagues and your friends. So that was the good thing that gave us, something to warm our hearts. And then before we even knew it, the drama began. So let's just start with rounding off some of the topics that came out of February. And please do chip in whenever you can. I would enjoy your input. Let me know where you are watching us from and what are your thoughts on these uh, topics and what has obviously stood out for you in 2025 February. Now let's just start with the latest of these topics as we wrap up February. I hope you have at least a glass of water or something to relax you. Some of us drink coffee, some drink something stronger just to wind down after a hectic 28 days. This is the last day of February. There we go now. Now let's start with the hot topic. That is, of course, here on screen, as you can see, some of the trending topics. And one of those trending topics is Anele Mdoda. So Anele Mdoda came out guns blazing on the 25th, telling us about what had happened in her Uber trip. So in her version of events, she got into an Uber and the Uber then promised to sexually assault her because she responded rudely or requested or chose the option not to be talked to in her Uber Black request. And then that's how she saw it, and then she decided to go what she called an Instagram live, but she says it was just a video so that the gentleman can understand that she is not alone. There are lots of people who can see what is going on, and that is how she got safely to her hotel. That was happening in Cape Town, guys. So according now to the gentleman who was the Uber driver, by the way, who is not a South African, is a foreign national. So already the odds are against him. You understand? And then he comes with his side of the story through Uma Pepandaba. So Uma Pepandaba gets the inbox that says, look, I want to share my side of the story because Anele also shared her side of the story. And according to the gent, he says that look, these are the screenshots here on screen, and they are just too many. The screenshots are just too many. So if you look at all of these screenshots, that's him trying to explain his side of the story. I'll try and summarize quickly. So the gent says that Anele, right, came into the car and she was a bit tipsy, according to him. And he says that she was coming from a street somewhere off the long street, and she was going to her hotel, which is in Foreshore, Cape Town. So it was about a 7-minute ride, he says. And then in that 7-minute ride, Anele bumped the window by mistake, and there was a loud noise, and it was that loud noise then that caused him to ask if she was okay. And in him asking if she was okay, that was when the altercation happened, because Anele was not happy with him asking her rather a lot of questions, and that then led to their altercation. And he says that, no, I was just asking what was wrong, because you are opening and closing the windows, and you are saying things that I didn't understand. So I was just asking for clarity, and that's when you raised your voice. Yes, so now the story is a bit sketchy as to who exactly was the one who was wrong in this acrimony, as they would say. But seems it could be the car. The car was wrong. Why did it make a noise? Why it's the car? It's the car, right? Yeah. So there was the story. Hopefully, Uber can come to a good conclusion here, because at the end of the day, the customer is always right. And the fact that this happened on Uber Black, guys, that is alarming, because that's where you're supposed to get the best quality service. So it should have never even escalated to that level. If Anele was being hysterical, as according to the driver, for him as a driver, you drive and you continue. You don't have a back and forth with your customer, especially if the trip is only 7 minutes. What's the point? Drop your customer and continue with your job. What are your thoughts on that? That's my view. But on Anele's side, don't be a difficult customer, though. We do need good customer service, but also make it easy for people to do that. I'm not sure if it was possible at that time, because if you hear that word, that is the odd word here in South Africa, the stats are against women. So you don't want to play any games with it. You don't want to take chances, because the possibility of that actually happening is higher than in any other place. So that's the analyst story, guys. And then, of course, in the middle of the drama, so that analyst story was happening this month on the 25th of February. Now, before that incident, Gallo on the political side, obviously, with Ramaphosa, Afriform, Donald Trump, Elon Musk, Zelensky, Nanguya, Putin, Habel, Kibalantoni. These gents have been busy. But let's just start at the top, guys. So at the moment, South Africa is the chair of G20. So when we talk G20, we are talking about 19 countries, and then the EU is in there, and the AU are in there, making it the G20. So South Africa, as a member state, was hosting this year's G20. And it was the first time that it was held on African soil, and they are doing it in collaboration with the AU. I get, but now it clashed with a time where South Africa was making some reform, right? And that is the time that also Donald Trump was also making America great that side. So basically, ideologies, politics, everything was going different direction. In fact, at this very moment, South Africa is not in a good position with the United States. That's because of the relationship that United States has built with former apartheid apologists, right? So all of those that see a blue line, is it a silver line or a blue line in apartheid? Yep, those ones are in close proximity with the US White House, right? So what was declared a crime against humanity for its brutal, unjust laws is now being weaponized against South Africa for wanting to, provide some reform, for wanting to level the playing ground and fixing, the injustices of the past. Koningi, what was happening, what was supposed to be happening. Let me say that with that land reform. But now that is what triggered the Afriforum, triggered Elon Musk, because according to the USA, they are moving away from this equality, the injustices, what they call DIE, diversity, equity, and inclusion. So, as America, they are saying, enough of that. We are done playing nice with other people. We just want to be capitalist, straight and through. We are tired of being nice. Basically, they are scrapping it all out, but it looks like they're not just scrapping it, if that was the case, but they are actually looking to do the inverse by the looks of things, because when they see a person of color or a woman in a position of power, they all immediately want to remove that person. They immediately want to second guess that person. They immediately want to think that they were never qualified. Whereas DIE was never about disqualifying any qualified person. It was just to make sure that every qualified rather person is afforded the same opportunity regardless of any factors that historically excluded them, be it gender, be it race, be it their physical abilities, right, where they are not in any way a hindrance to the job that they are applying to. Okay, so because of those differences, USA and South Africa are not friends. And then on top of it, it makes Trump not like South Africa. And then on top of it, the Israel case for Palestine against their friends there. So it also adds salt to the wound. At the moment, South Africa is in journey, guys. Let's just be honest. Let's just be honest, guys. What Ramaphosa did with this land expropriation bill, even though he thinks that he was being smart, it backfired big time, right? Because first of all, it's not actually returning any land to any African people. It was just merely a means for the government to get away with using property for investment purposes, what it looks like, right? From what he was saying to assure other presidents. And it looks like it was a means, obviously, what people talked about a lot, about taking up those abandoned buildings in the CBDs that cannot be touched, and now the government would be able to do that. I know some people try to squeeze in the fact that no, it also addresses those farms that were acquired illegally and there is no trace of any amount ever being paid. It doesn't sound like that's what Ramaphosa was doing when he was asked to clarify in his follow-up tweets. For me, he sanitized it for the West, and for us, he made it sound like a revolution was happening, whereas he knew deep down that these people aren't getting their land back still. But for me, about the land issue, I always feel like the current land claims court is available, is open. People can go in there and make their claims. So what is wrong with people going in and making their claims? Let me know what your thoughts are with this land expropriation bill, because it brought February under fire. We are in this mess with international relations is because of South Africa, playing Big Brother. So the other mess that we got ourselves into as South Africans is that Rwanda and DRC mess that almost got us invaded by Rwandan rebels. And you know the way that Ukagame is. If I was South Africa, I would always be on the lookout because that gent, he looks like Uyawabamba Maqhubu. He looks like the type of person who says, you know what, mina nawe sisazohlangana. If he doesn't actually seek out some time to talk to that Kagame guy, we mustn't be shocked when we see rebels popping up here in South Africa, because let's also note that it's his alleged regime that was able to come into South Africa and take out, as in unalive people who were allegedly part of the former genocide. So if you have a president who's that ruthless, he himself being a former rebel, you can play nice with him. All right, guys. So that's one of the hot topics that we went through here this year, February, that we are saying goodbye to, luckily. So besides us being in that Rwanda mess, trying to be peacemakers and losing a lot of lives, of course, may their souls rest in peace. We caught some stray bullets, as I said, from Rwanda. And we were also a laughing stock. Let's not forget that one, guys, because there was a misconception that our South African soldiers had put up the white flag for a ceasefire or a surrender, but it was actually a ceasefire after the commander explained that it was actually a ceasefire to just say, look here, we are collecting soldiers, and that was the agreement, and then they ambushed them. Oh, guys, but we are hoping that indeed now the army is going to be capacitated, and this technology that we have here in South Africa must come in good use even in foreign terrain, because what the soldiers complained about is that they are in a foreign country, they don't understand the terrain as much as the M23 understand it. But with access to services like your Starlink, they would still have internet access even in those foreign terrains, and then they would then, obviously if it's not raining, there's an ADS, then they would be able to assess the terrain without having, prior knowledge. And guys, what does the SNDF do? Because there will always obviously be new terrain, so they can't just complain about that. They better make a plan, because babukisa ngathi out there. Of course, on the SNDF issue, before we close it, is that the bodies did eventually come back after a long delay because they had to use road instead of flying directly from DRC, Goma, that is, because the M23 took Goma captive, even that airport. So they had to get out of there. But what we must actually acknowledge is Uganda. Uganda and Rwanda, the bad guys, they are actually helping in terms of logistic. Not sure it's because they're getting paid, or it's also because they are just being hospital neighbors in the midst of all of this. So now the soldiers came back, and then as they were about to come back, another bombshell for SNDF comes in. That bombshell was was it the captain, guys? Please correct me here in the comment section. Then tells everybody that government is treating this SNDF as a Mickey Mouse army. So meaning, we are not well capacitated, we are not given the honor that we deserve. And he was just voicing that out, that if you are serious about protecting this country, you better do better. And he got a lot of backlash from that, similar to what Malema also got for criticizing our army publicly like that, because it then invites uninvited advances from those who don't seek peace. Let me put it like that. It shows that there is a gap out there that can be filled by, and people could get away with it. Do you understand what I'm saying? It just shows vulnerabilities, basically. So hopefully that will be something that won't happen again, and that commander or captain can use the right channels to communicate it. The message was not wrong, but it was the platform that was not the right one. What are your thoughts on that? Let's even forget about the one of soldiers falling pregnant. Now, on that one, guys, for me, soldiers falling pregnant, ah, it's not looking good because it sounds like, "Ay, bosiyalwa lana nina, you guys are falling pregnant." But let's also forget these are human beings, number one. Number two, if men could also fall pregnant, they would probably be showing their tummies, but it's just because it's a woman that can show, that they are with child. What I'm saying is that men are also having sexual intercourse out there, right? And it's just that for them, there is no result. Ebonakala. Let's start there. Number two, also, it could be that they were here in December and tummy is only showing now because so they could have fallen pregnant before their deployment and they had not tested before going out, which would have been sus because why are they not testing their soldiers before going on a flight to a mission? Okay, on that one, for me, I feel like it's human nature to fall pregnant, whether you're in the army or whether you are in the navy, wherever you are, it's human nature. And after that, labor laws apply. Come back home and work a job that you can do while you are in that condition and return once you're done. Obviously, it does make it look like they were there to play. But what are your thoughts on that, guys? I could be getting it wrong. That's all the drama. Can you see already? We've spent so much time on other drama, and it's not even half of it when it comes to February 2025. Now, to wrap up our foreign relations, Ramaphosa invites Zelensky for a state visit here in South Africa. And he does this just after the G20, or was it during the G20? So the G20 was sitting on the 20th to the 21st, and that was their first meeting that was held in Gauteng. So that one was for foreign ministers, and we saw big guns coming in. Your China, your Canadas, your Russia, were in there. Your UK, EU, UN. There was a lot of attendance in that one, except obviously for the USA that did not pitch, and Ramaphosa braved that and said no. Basically saying no, the show must go on. And then there was a second G20 session that was held in Cape Town. Now, that one was on the 26th to 27th, please correct me, around those dates. But that one was aimed at finance ministers and bankers to discuss finance policies in these countries, how to improve our systems, how to end corruption, fraud, all of the rules and regulations around finances and banking in government. So in that session, Ramaphosa was aiming to butter up basically the countries to lower the debt or the interest rate on debt for African countries. And that did not go so well, as I said before, that what America is doing right now, and Russia also, with this instability, the war in Ukraine, and how the US is moving away from being the nice guy and removing DIE, it's likely going to affect the rest of the world. That there's no longer going to be any free rides, especially after we saw that US aid cuts. So there won't be any free rides. So African countries will no longer be able to play that, oh, poverty card, oh, colonization, all those type of things that we use to get aid and sort of free funds from other countries. It's probably not going to work for the next 5 years. Now it means that African countries will actually have to put in value propositions that will entice other countries to want to partner with them. It will no longer be free ride. We also saw the US telling the Ukraine that we gave you weapons and they were for free, right? But if you look at the amount of the weapons that we gave you, they are worth billions, and it's now time for you to pay back. There are discussions around this, if it's even legal, because it wasn't an agreement upfront. But I'm just saying, looking at that even a donation, what was once a donation, can turn around to be an opportunity to negotiate, right? So African countries must shape up their economies to say, this is what I can offer you, give me this. It's no longer going to be take, take, take. Okay, let's move on, guys, to the next item, because this international relations one is a lot. So the worry, as we go back to Zelensky and Ramaphosa, then inviting him, it's these two giants. It's Russia, it's Ukraine. It's Russia, Ukraine, and the USA. So now South Africa was is again in a very hot territory, just like we went and put ourselves in that Israel one way. It was actually a very hot territory. All right, so we also saw that Elon Musk's Starlink here in South Africa was then, would you say cancelled? But I would like to rather say it's still in progress. That proposal is still in progress, and the reason why it has been halted, it is because Musk, like every other country like every other company rather, that gets to operate as an international company in South Africa, there are rules and regulations you have to comply with depending on the industry. And for him, he just has to show investment in the South African economy. He can't just post up his internet up there in the sky, his satellite dish, get access, and South Africa gains nothing from that. After giving you access, you have to invest in infrastructure. We see your MTNs, we see your Vodacoms, you know the rest of the telecoms that are able to give our people jobs, the call centers. In Nwaba, lots of people are in there being employed gainfully. We know that um, there is some return. How can I say? There is some opportunity. There are some, listen, guys, there are some opportunities with Starlink, with those that are selling the devices, but that can't just be it. Where are the people who are servicing Starlink? Where will they be based, right? And will they be paying any taxes in South Africa as a company? All of those things need to be ironed out. As I think to the BEE aspect of it, that let there be a South African company that has a stake in that company. So his options are to set up a subsidiary here in Africa if he doesn't want to sell off a stake of his bigger company. That's just it. Let me know what are your thoughts on that. And another misconception is that the BEE just wants to take a 30% chunk for free. No, it just means that there will be a selection of shares or ownership that will be open for South African BEE compliant companies. So it will not be free, it will still be sold, but exclusively for South African-based companies that are BEE compliant. That's how I saw it. Let me know, guys, as we move on from the Elon Musk. Guys, Elon Musk, before we even finish the Elon Musk and the Trump, these guys are trying to bring back colonization by the looks of it. Aibo, the way that they are promoting Russia's invasion of Ukraine, the way that they are supporting in Germany, they were voting and they were supporting a party that is very, I don't want to say racist, but with extreme views that are intolerant, basically, of immigrants or people of different color. And yeah, kuningi. So the way that they are moving out there, they are totally disregarding their very own constitution in America. And the issue with that is if America allows that overriding of their constitution by a president on that idea that Elon Musk is saying that if there is a law that can stand against what the president is saying, then there is no democracy. That's what he's saying. Then it's a bureaucracy because now the president cannot carry out the, what is it? Cannot carry out the calls it, he cannot carry out the desires of his constituents as he had campaigned. That's any um, any government does. They do it for the country, not just the people that they voted for, and it must still be in the confines of that constitution, right? Unless they can challenge that constitutional rule that is limiting them in court and have it amended or overturned. But you can't just act out of it without that being signed into law. That's how I see it. But where I was going with that is that if America allows Elon Musk and Donald Trump to continue in this way that they are doing, of just overlooking the three arms of government in America, it can influence other nations because even democracy, USA was the big brother. So if democracy is failing in the USA, dictatorship will continue to flourish even worse in African states as people are trying to be democratic even when they didn't want to. But if you get, let's say, a party like MK coming into power, and we already know that MKP here in South Africa is not really fond of the constitution or what they call Roman Dutch laws, the laws, right? So if they see that there's an opportunity for us not to obey what is written in law and the constitution, so it will give them a loophole to say, look, America did it. Why should we follow this? And guess what? That gives them too much power, and you can never know what people can do with a lot of power. But what is interesting also, as we are talking about MKP, here in South Africa, the former president, that is Jacob Zuma, had what they call an advisor there in America from the Guptas. And those Gupta advisors were then accused of being state capturers. But in America, the advisor is out there in broad daylight, attending parliament like he is an elected member of Congress. I've never seen such a blatant display of state capture, considering that he's not a formal government employee, hasn't relinquished any of his companies or declared them in order to take up public office. He is in, out, one leg in, one leg out, public, private. Guys, let me know, what are your thoughts on what Elon Musk is doing there? And do you think that he should come back to South Africa? For me, I don't think South Africa, because already he's doing too much overseas. As we continue to wrap up what was February, one of the items that came up recently is that DJ SBU Magenge. DJ SBU, as you would know him, is a DJ, radio DJ, a podcaster here on YouTube, and also a producer. Ziningi izinto azenzayo. DJ SBU has resigned from Radio 2000, where he was doing his breakfast show. Now, people over there were like, yeah, vele, we didn't like it that much over there by that radio show of yours, DJ SBU. But obviously, there were a lot of people who enjoyed DJ SBU on that breakfast show. According to DJ SBU, he has found new opportunities. He put out a tweet that he will be ending his relationship with the radio station before the contract officially ended. Already there are rumors that it could be because of NOTA Baloyi. Now we enter into the territory of NOTA Baloyi. Guys, NOTA has been doing the most on that social media. He went on about new words that we discovered from NOTA on Neanderthal. Big words. So he went on there, NOTA, and said that white people are about to get extinct, saying that they are inferior, all sorts of information that he says that were based on science and facts. And unfortunately, he said all of those things on the Hustlers Corner, which is DJ SBU's platform. So the Human Rights Commission then was notified, and it could be that NOTA will then have to stand trial. And this is in the Equality Court. So that trial is coming up for his statements to be tested. We'll see how that one goes. But on the DJ SBU item, DJ SBU is rumored to be replaced by DJ Fresh, who announced also that he's coming back to mainstream radio. So let's see how that one plays out. I get another drama. Yes, guys, as I said that, February had a lot, and as we are continuing with wrapping up February, please give this video a thumbs up, guys, as we wrap it all up. We had Mkize facing SARS once again. Guys, this lady is a fighter. She will go to court and go to court and go to court many times, but she will not pay SARS. That is what she will not do. Or is it that she is still making payment arrangements? Because at the moment, what her SARS woes are doing are affecting even her other businesses, which is Royal AM at the moment. So Royal AM was not even able to play any games since last year, December. They missed some of their fixtures, and they have now been out of the PSL. They have been out of the Nedbank. But the thing is that it is now up for sale because SARS needs to close in that tax gap, which we as normal taxpayers are happy to see other taxpayers contributing. But the way that they are coming at Mkize, guys, we're hoping that indeed she does what she needs to do and finishes off this debt and goes on to do better things. And the thing is, if she knew she had a tax debt, why didn't she just give this company to Andile and remove herself completely? Unless if they found that the money to purchase it was actually from Mkize's proceeds. So even if it did belong to Andile, the fact that the money flowed into those to the proceeds. It's not like she's charged with fraud. She just has a tax debt. So that's the part that why didn't she just do that when she had a chance? Yeah. Okay. Okay. Uzenzile asimkhaleli sikhalela uzumekile. That's what they say, right? Okay, and so that was the PSL, Umamkize, and Royal AMO goals. And then recently we had the NYDA interviews. The candidates that were shortlisted, there were 20 of them to be board members of the NYDA. The caliber, only about 4 or 5 were worth it. We've seen previous candidates that were like, wow, oh my God, oh, the type where you're like, ooh, 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 wow, wow, wow. These ones, it was mostly credit deployment, and it did not really entice anybody. But in terms of why NYDA does, they do a lot, guys. If you even look at their websites, their social media, they have a lot of bursaries, they have campaigns, they support businesses, youth-funded business. Youth started businesses. They do provide a lot of career guidance. They try. Can they do more? Absolutely. We need them to be more visible. And also, we want them to parade at least 10 of the businesses that they have founded or supported, so that we see the benefits. Because at the moment, people are saying, what are you guys up to actually? All right, let's check out the next topic. So the NYDA interviews were happening last week and the week before. Yeah, it was this week and last week events. So according to Usihle Ndlozi, who took center stage, there were some candidates there with questionable qualifications. They did graduate, but they graduated after they had already occupied a big position, and the ANC has been fingered for sending those type of candidates. Guys, I'm not even going to talk about this NOTA issue. I did mention it a bit, but he was enjoying the attention from Elon Musk. He was enjoying the attention from Kanye West, from the rest of the international audience, which was quite alarming because it's something that Umegji once said, that Unota, the problem started when he started getting more attention as a background supporter. So he was, at the time when he invited him on this podcast, he was a artist manager and a producer, and then he switched up and became a record label owner. And then after he realized that actually I can just claim all of this company for myself, that's when he swindled Abo partners akhe, allegedly, and then claimed that the company actually belonged to him alone. But when Questa rather explains it, he says that it was an agreement that he would register it, but it was never that it was a sole company. It was always a partnership. But because what's in ink counts, he ended up being, Umaquzu and a record label owner, as he would introduce himself. But we are on that idea that Umechi, even Nkululeko talked about it, even Penuel ended up understanding why at some point Umechi and them had to block him, because once Unota gets passionate about something, he will be blowing up your phone. He will be coming into your spaces, and he will want to introduce more ideas. He'll want to give you strategies, which is good if he just put that onto something and package it as a consultant, as a consultant, and then he can do that to make money, right? Because he's obviously passionate. He's obviously got good ideas for podcasters, for businesses, for artists. Just package it as a consultant and go and give all those fire ideas and in that way, so that it is a healthy collaboration. That is the NOTA bit of it. So at the moment, he's in trouble, and it looks like he is no longer scared of jail, because he went on and tweeted and tweeted and tweeted so many things that I saw as racist. As much as I'm not happy with how some white people would react to black people, but that's not how Ubuntu is. That's not how South Africans are raised, to ridicule people and call them names like that. I get, and the moomish of the month, obviously.
Never. Hey, nigga, sorry. Hey, nigga, sorry, man.
Yes, that's the moomish of the month. That is our guy there, Godongwane, because never ever in South Africa have we ever seen a budget speech being cancelled, ever. But with this GNU, we see a budget speech being cancelled. And unfortunately, it just came after the former finance minister, Maweni, was laid to rest. So people are asking, he can't even go and ask for tips on how to do, some economic balances. He was being accused of putting together a balanced statement or something, instead of putting economic budget. You guys tell me, we haven't even seen this budget. So as South Africans, we can't even comment, because it is still hush budget between the GNU members. I am Julweni, we get Umpopops, we get Uzinumalo no Tamarind Green. This guy, Uzinumalo, is allegedly the cause of why Musa is currently behind bars for criminal injury, defamation, and what, because he gave him a cease and desist, and Musa failed to apologize efficiently, or to apologize enough to convince them that he was sincere, and that is how he then was rounded up by the police, together with other defamatory tweets that he put out about ministers and their extramarital affairs. So, as I said, and another one who was in trouble because of love and marriage, Pops, guys. Pops went out and said, "We have 15 years with my lover, with my wife." And people were like, "Hey, excuse me, didn't you have a girlfriend here who was a yellow bone between these 15 years?" And that's when the cookie crumbled. So he has been married with his wife for 2 years, and they were celebrating their anniversary. They do have a daughter together. And people brought out receipts of the old girlfriend who was being cozy with Pops before they made it official with the wife. There goes another. Should we call him Moomish also of February? But Gaten Mackenzie switched up on South Africans here. So Gaten Mackenzie was spotted with Afriform. He was spotted with Afriform, as I said. He was spotted with Solidarity. But what he switched up on South Africans on is that he is supporting Trump's move to cut aid to South Africa. And there are a lot of things there by Patriotic Alliance that are no longer looking like they are as they promised, because they are accused of supporting a foreign national for gaining a contract to fix Lillian Ngoyi Street there in Johannesburg that was bombed, should I say, by that explosion that happened years ago, which hasn't been fixed. And there he was sitting with the Israel ambassador, the same Israel that South Africa is taking to court. Sure. So we're not sure what he's doing unless if it's a strategy by Ramaphosa to have somebody to negotiate for South Africa, and then playing leverage games, and he's sending Gaten to find out what is their strategy. Could be that. Of course, we have the biggest other movement, which is the ANC dismantling its PECs. The promise to dismantle them happened, and Ufile Mbalula got to reconfigure Panyaza Lesofisi. So Panyaza is now out of power, and he is now a deputy convener there by Gauteng. But the people that they brought in are not made sure. Some of them have reached their sell-by date according to most of the comments, but some may be fit for purpose. What are your thoughts on this reconfiguration? But surprisingly, KZN, which is more very, what can I say, resistant to change, they welcomed this new reconfiguration. Well, in front of their leaders, they did. And so it will be interesting then to see what then happens with Abu Duma. Will they be able to play nice with their new reconfigured members, the Abu Mabuye Kulu? All right, let's see then what else then happens after that, guys. As I said, February has been filled with so much. We saw our load shedding coming back promptly. After we had forgotten about it, it came back and it hit us with a stage 3. So this is a big stage 3. I think boom, stage 6. Haibo, remember that weekend? It was a week. But the Minister of Electricity is always on his toe. He delivered a no load shedding free a week after that. So far, no load shedding. He did the things that needed to be done. We're not sure who is paying to keep these lights on, but as for us, we are happy. No more load shedding again until the next disaster. All right, and then guys, what other items came up that you want to talk about? Obviously, we can talk about the arrest of earlier on in the courts. We saw, as I said, Musa appearing in court for criminal injury and no bail. Another court showing was that of Maweni, guys. Maweni was given bail, shame, and he was able to come out. But what happened with Koko Maweni, is that former baby daddy Wake actually passed away. Now, it was not because of Maweni. He was involved in a accident. But people are now saying, it's not, it's giving ancestor intervention somehow. Evil ancestor intervention, let me put it that way, because ancestors are good, right? Let me know. Okay, and then here we are now. Another court appearance was that of Chidima. Here we are talking Chidima. Chidima, the former Miss South Africa contestant rather, who went to Nigeria, won Miss Nigeria, went to Mexico and landed on the first runner-up, came back to South Africa after snubbing it, and we saw her on Instagram with her son. She has a baby, yes, and her son was stomping her face. And soon after that, there was a video of her at Waterfront there in Cape Town. And soon after that, South Africa was up in arms saying, is there any law in South Africa? Did you lie to South Africans about the passport? They need to investigate how was this movement happening. And in that response, they were able to nab the mother, which they were not able to locate all this time, but she then pops up at Summer Greens. That's the residence where Chidima and her family are based in Cape Town. And she was then given a bail of 10,000 after spending 2 weeks in jail. Pollsmoor, guys. Pollsmoor is hectic, if you know Cape Town. Yeah, it's hectic. It's like Sun City, right? It's at that level. All right, guys, let's see then what else stood out for you in terms of February as we wrap it up. Obviously, we saw other matters such as flooding in areas such as KZN, and also in Gauteng, there was some issues with flooding. And again, that also speaks to infrastructure. Why are the drains not unblocked so that should any rainfall come in, it is able to move? Oh, what are your thoughts? Why do we keep having flooding issues? All right, and then sorry about that. And then you also get fire in Cape Town. Table Mountain was on fire because some people are alleging it's the church groups that go there in the mornings, or it could be the homeless gents that make camps around Table Mountain so that they can serve the the tourists that use those trails that could have left some of their fires unattended, and that then caused the fire to spread. But at the moment, the firefighters are hard at work trying to put out the fires in the most riskiest areas that can't easily be reached by foot. But they're definitely trying to stop it from spreading to the nearby suburbs. Now, looking at another thing that's wrapping up our February, the month of love. Already, we have been through a lot, guys. It's just been the 2 months. It's just been 2 months, but we have been through a lot already as a country. And in all of it, as we've seen white South Africans coming together to defend South Africa. That's one thing that came out of it, that they are indeed a lot of South Africans that are willing to work together to build a better country, even though there are those who are not satisfied and are happy to have a Orania go up. In talking about Orania, Wade Maya, who is one of Africa's biggest YouTubers, had profiled Orania, and it is making the rounds in this internet. Please check it out here on YouTube and put in there your opinion, and also do spend a moment to educate those who do not understand the circumstances that South Africa is living in. We know that some African countries have never been in close proximity to white people, so they might not understand why they are here. Like I've always said this before, that in SADC countries there are white people, just like in Britain, in France, in America there are black people. That's how we have white people in SADC countries. It's not just South Africa. They are there in Angola. They are there in Botswana, Zimbabwe, Namibia. They are white people in those countries. So they mustn't make it look like it's South Africa that has white people. But of course, our white people are then empowered by this liberal constitution that we have, which is now coming under fire for being what they would call a general white genocide, whereas it supports all citizens. And it looks like at this very moment, the people who have benefited the most from our constitution are foreigners. That's what people are saying. But for me, I feel like there's nothing that is stopping any white person, any black person who has the desire to, from doing anything. So they say you can't do business with the government because of BEE. Then if you don't want to support the country's redress of historical injustices, it's not stopping you from creating a company. Just don't do business with the government. That's all that BEE says. That if you want to do business with the government, you have to have BEE, and also if you want to benefit from tax reductions, you better have your BEE. But otherwise, it's definitely the rest is just labor laws. So if you can't even do that, then why are you saying you are a South African, right? If you do not see the need to redress the injustices of the past, if you are happy to widen the inequality gap, you are happy to see, this community perpetually advancing and the other being pushed down. Are you still a South African? Anyway, guys, let's wrap it up really. But let's make a toast to February. As we close off, if you have a glass of water, if you are winding down your evening, it's been a hectic month and it's month end right now. You're probably making plans for the next one. As we look back at what we had in February 2025, we can already see that much is ziyakhala, guys. So we hope that our government is not just waiting for the US to come back with more sanctions, that they are right now strategizing how they will get other partners from other areas besides the US, like the West, just like how China and Russia did. They went on and found new allies. They beefed up their own. They beefed up their own production in order for them to survive outside of the sanctions and being shunned from the West. And guys, is our government aware that the people are right now in America? They are not really stable. So to think that they're gonna go there and reason with them, they're not serious. They must just find alternative markets. That's my view. What are your thoughts, guys? Already, we are getting into March as of tomorrow, and toast to February and the month that was the month of love. And my prayer for you is that you find love within yourself and that you're surrounded by love. And that you be the partner that you wish you had. Does that make sense? But basically, to growth, guys, it's still the second month of the year. Those New Year's resolutions, those changes, those whether be it mental, physical, or skill-wise, it's still early days and you can still do that change. So while there's chaos around us with our governments and with other things that are out of our control, don't forget to also take some time to look within you and better yourself so that you are well equipped. Whatever happens next, you are ready. Guys, let's just close it off right now and cheers to February as we look forward to a new month, God willing. Hi, thank you so much for watching this video and hope that you join us in the next one. And don't forget to give this one a thumbs up in support of this channel. And to say, I really appreciate all of you for tuning in, and we hope that in future these sessions can be more engaging and involve a panel to discuss all the different topics within the month. There's more, guys. We can always have more suggestions as to how we can make these sessions more inclusive and mostly beneficial to our members here on the Capital. Thank you. Bye. See you on the next one. Bye. Yes.